So to move on, we were discussing about the authentication. So the last topic that we have supposed to discuss here is authentication and key agreement. So first we'll be understanding what is the authentication and what advancement that was done for WEP in the later days. Okay, so first I'll be explaining you the authentication, and next I'll be explaining you about the key agreement. Okay, so in 802.11, actually this 802.11i uses IEEE 802.1x. So this is basically a protocol that supports the authentication at link layer. So this protocol, it contains three entities, like supplicant. Supplicant is nothing but the wireless station, and the second entity is authenticator. Authenticator is the access point in our case, okay, and the authentication server. So these are the three entities that has been involved for the purpose of authentication, providing the supporting the authentication at the link layer. Okay, so different authentication mechanisms and message types are actually defined in extensible authentication protocol, EAP. Okay, extensible, you can just see here, extensible authentication protocol. So this protocol is actually it is not really a protocol, but instead it is a framework. Okay, so framework, so here it is comprised of exchanging the request and response, as you already know. Yes, of course, even here it incorporates the challenge response protocol, and it also increases the capability, the security capabilities of the beacon probe response frames, the request frames. Everywhere the security is actually enhanced. Okay, so the generic authentication message, how the exchange takes place, it has been deployed in this figure here. Okay, so here, as I already mentioned, the three entities we have is the station, the supplicant, the wireless station, the access point, and the authentication server. So here the authentication server is Radius. So Radius, it stands for remote authentication dial in user service. Remote authentication dial in user service. Okay, so this is a client server protocol used for authentication, authorization, and accounting. For all these three purpose, this is used. Okay, so here what exactly happens is, as you can see here, we have identity. Initially the authentication so the access point, it will send for the identity, and this station has to prove its identity to the access point. So the access point then goes for authentication server for accessing the request. So next the Radius will access the challenge, and the same is being sent to the access point. The access point will further send the authentication request to the station, and the station in turn will send the response, and this response is then sent to the authentication server for the authentication purpose. So it will accept, and I mean to say, if it find that it is authorized station, so then it will send the acceptance to the access point. So the access point in turn will send it to the station as yes, the successful establishment of the connection between the communication link between the station and the access point. So this access point will actually maintain authentication server. So this authentication server will perform to check the integrity of the station. Okay, I mean to say, whether it is a authorized person, whether the station is a authorized person, that authentication is done by this Radius. Okay, and these steps, whatever I explained here, this is this is specific. Okay, it depends upon the specific authentication method, so it is not generalized. So it might get changed from one application to the other. Okay, so here when it comes to the authentication, we have these many types here. So EAP, this is MD5, actually not MDS, this is MD5, TLS, TTLS, PEAP. So these are the four authentication methods that has actually been supported by this EAP, Extensible Authentication Protocol. Okay, so what are the importance of this EAP MD5? So this EAP MD5, the first one here, this is the most basic of EAP authentication methods. Okay, so here what happens is the authentication server, it will challenge the station to transmit the MD5 hash of the user's password. Okay, so the station will prompt the user to type his password. So it then computes the hash of the password and send this hash to send this hash across the network to the authentication server. Okay, so here itself the flaw is, okay, so this method is insecure since an attacker could eavesdrop on such a message exchange and replay the hashed password, thus impersonating the owner of the password. Okay, so in simple words, so it is requesting for the hash value of the password in this method, in this EAP MD5 method. So what this person does is the wireless station, there it will ask for the password, the user will enter the password. For that password the hash is computed and it is sent across the network to the authentication server. So during this period of time the attacker could attack the link and get that hash. So next he will perform the replay attack. So that's the reason why this is not that efficient. Next we have this TLS. So this TLS is, as you all know, we have one more way of calling this TLS, that is SSL. Okay, so this is the most secured one what we have, EAP TLS. So here we have the concept of mutual authentication agreement on master session key. So again this master session key is also computed by Diffie-Hellman key exchange, the digital certificate. All these concepts have been incorporated in this method, EAP TLS. Okay, so when it comes to EAP TTLS, this is tunneled. Okay, so if you remember in SSL we had two types. If you remember, one was transport, the other one was the other one was tunneled. So this tunneled requires certificate only at the access point. Okay, so the access point authenticates. I'm speaking about this TTLS. T stands for tunneled. Okay, so the AP authenticates itself to the station and both the sides construct a secure tunnel between themselves. Okay, so over this secure tunnel the station authenticates itself to the access point, and then the station could transmit attribute value pairs such as username and password. And we also require to note a point here. Here the station really authenticates itself to the authentication server, that is Radius. Okay, so the access point, it merely forward the authentication information to the authentication server. That is what I said in the previous slide. So here the access point, it will not perform any authentication. It simply it will just forward the data, the authentication, the data required for the authentication to the authentication server. Okay, and the next type what we have is protected EAP. Okay, so this protected EAP, this is actually been proposed by Microsoft, Cisco and RSA Security, and is very much similar to EAP TTLS. So this is very much similar to this. The secure tunnel is used to start a second EAP exchange wherein the station authenticates itself to the authentication server. Okay, so the enhanced security offered by EAP TLS, EAP TTLS and PEAP does, and however come at a steep price in performance measured by the message and computational overheads incurred during authentication. So next is to understand the key hierarchy. So this there are two types of keys that are used in wireless local area network. One is pairwise key, the other one is group key. We have two types here. One is pairwise key and the other one is group key. In this pairwise key, it is used to protect traffic between station and the access point. Okay, it is only with respect to protect the traffic, which the pairwise keys. Okay, group key, it is intended to protect broadcast or multicast traffic between the access point and multiple stations. Okay, pairwise key, it is used to protect traffic between station and access point, whereas the group key, it is intended to protect broadcast or multicast traffic between the access point and multiple stations. Okay, so now we'll try to understand this key structure here. The root of the key hierarchy is this pairwise master key, PMK, and this PMK can be obtained in two ways. Okay, so the station, first way is the station and the authentication server. The station and the authentication server, they may agree on master session key, and which is a part of authentication procedure, which was actually described before. Okay, and the authentication server then communicates this key to access point. Okay, and the access point and station, once after this master session key that has been agreed between the station and authentication server, so later on the authentication server will send it to the access point, and from then the station and access point will be making use of this pairwise master key, that is from the master session key. Okay, and alternative to this, we have a pre-shared key. PSK is a pre-shared key, which is used as this is actually used as the pairwise master key. Okay, PMK. So one possibility is for each station to be configured with PSK, is to communicate with one possibility for each station is to be configured with PSK, that is pre-shared key, while the pre-shared key approach is easier to administer. So each station actually will be pre-configured with pre-shared key. Okay, so in case of pre-shared key, master session key, both the station and the authentication server will come to an agreement. Okay, fine, we'll be making use of this master session key, and the same will be conveyed to the access point. But in case of pre-shared session key, so each station will be deployed with this pre-shared session key, and it will be known, yes, station and the access point that will be relying on this pre-shared session key. Okay, next is this pre-shared this pairwise master key. So this will be a 256 bit. Okay, so the 256 bit pairwise master key is used to derive a 384 bit pairwise transient key. Okay, so this 256 bit pairwise master key will be used to derive 384 bit pairwise transient key. So the pairwise transient key is a pseudo random function of PMK and two nouns chosen by the access point, and then the station and their MAC address. So this the pairwise transient key what we have, so this is a random function of PMK, this pairwise master key, and the two nouns that has been decided by two nouns is a random number, two random number that has been generated by the access point, and the station, access point and the station and their MAC address, both the station and this. So all this together is the pairwise transient key. Okay, so by deriving PTK in this fashion, key refreshing can take place without the overhead of negotiating a new PMK. Okay, so instead of old pairwise master key with two refresh nouns are all that is needed to refresh the transient key. Okay, so three 128 bit chunks are extracted from 384 bit. This transient key what we have, this is 384 bit key. So now this 384 bit key is now been from this we are extracting three keys. Okay, the temporal key, key confirmation key and key encryption key. So we have three here. One is temporal key, key confirmation key and key encryption key. Okay, temporal key, it is used for both encryption and integrity protection of data between the access point and the station. Key confirmation key is used to integrity protect some of the messages in four-way handshake, which we'll be discussing next. And integrity protection is supported by MAC, computed as a function of message and the key confirmation key. Next is key encryption key is used to encrypt the message containing the group key. Okay, so this is all about the key hierarchy. Next is four-way handshake. So the main goal of four-way handshake are to derive goal is to derive the transient key from the master key. Next, to verify the cipher suit communicated in the beacon and associated request frames. And the third goal is to communicate the group keys from access point to the station. Okay, so what exactly happens? It has been depicted in this figure. You can just understand here. First, the access point will generate a noun, that is nouns, which is a challenge, a random number. So in response to this, the station chooses one more random number, and the station computes the transient key. Okay, so it will compute the transient key, which is a function of the master key, the noun generated by the station, the nouns generated by the station, the nouns generated by the access point, and the MAC address of access point, MAC address of the station. Okay, so the pseudo random function of PMK and the MAC address of the station and AP, all these things are used. So since so many data are being incorporated in the function, so definitely it will avoid the replay attack. Okay, so as mentioned earlier, next these three keys, that is temporal key, key exchange, key confirmation key, key encryption key. So these three are being extracted from the key, that is from the transient key. The station will send its nouns together with its choice of cipher suit to the access point, and then it uses the key confirmation key to compute the message integrity check, MIC. Message integrity check. This has been generated by the key confirmation key, and such protection will actually thwart the possibility of man-in-middle attack. Okay, so once receiving this message, so this the access point computes again the transient key from the above expression used by the station, and will again extract even here the extraction of the temporal key, key confirmation key, and key encryption key. So all these three are again been extracted by the access point, and then in message 3, the access point to the station contains the current group transient key, and this is the key used by the access point and all station to integrity protect multicast or broadcast messages. And this message 3 also contains the cipher suit chosen by the access point, and the message is encrypted using the key encryption key, 128-bit, which has been extracted by the transient key. So that is used for the purpose of encryption, and is integrity protected using the key. Integrity has been taken care by key confirmation key. Confidentiality has been taken care by key encryption key. And the fourth message what we have is the acknowledgement from the station, that is used as received the previous messages without error. So it is a signal to the access point that henceforth all messages will be integrity protected and encrypted with the temporal key. That is all about the four-way handshake. Thank you guys.